Now, we talked about cityscape paintings and how they are part of the larger category of pilgrimage art. But just to go back a little bit, step back, pilgrimage art is really best looked at with having three categories. We need to look at site locations, paintings, and then Bodhgaya, India, just to make things a little easier. Now, site locations are divided into mountains, cities, cityscapes, monasteries and temples, and then we could say stupas. Within monasteries and temples, we can also have single objects that are being looked at that are replicated in painting or sculpture, like the Jo Shakyamuni sculpture in the Lhasa Cathedral, or we can look at paintings of the third Panchen Lama when he's visiting Lhasa. We can look at Tonton Gyalpo when he's visiting West Tibet. That we can find sculpture that exist in temples that are represented in art over the last few hundred years. So we primarily, though, we have mountains, we have cities and towns themselves, and then we have temples and monasteries, and then within that we can have individual objects, but then we can also have stupas. So we have the very large stupas and the very well-known ones such as Jarung Kashur, like Bodhanath in Kathmandu and Swayambhu. We have a number of different stupas that are represented along with Bodhgaya and possibly others. So that's site locations. Now, paintings is actually the most complicated of this group of what we call pilgrimage art, of these three kinds of categories, because with paintings we have all different types and all different qualities. We also have tourist art, and we have souvenir art, and we have extremely poor quality art, and then we have paintings and sculpture where the iconography is not even real, but the objects are being sold out of temple souvenir shops and pilgrimage shops as if they had some meaning, which some objects just don't. So paintings we will talk about later, but it is the larger of these of three categories. Then we have Bodhgaya, India. Now, Bodhgaya, India sounds weird that we just have three different categories for pilgrimage art, and one of them happens to be Bodhgaya. Well, the reason is because we have two different objects that are very important in art history and are very common in different collections and in monastery and temple collections, museum collections, private collections around the world. And what these three Bodhgaya India objects are is first is a stone object of depicting Shakyamuni Buddha and many of the scenes from his life story. And these objects date back to about 1,000 years ago and are believed to be they're believed to be a commodity item that could be purchased in Bodhgaya and other places, Nalanda and other Buddhist holy places. They could be purchased by pilgrims to then take back and return to their own homeland with some souvenir, some religious object from the Holy Land, from the pilgrimage location. Now, the other are, first is the Shakyamuni in stone, life story. Second are actual small stone models of the Bodhgaya Temple. And these can be a few inches tall, or they could be 6 inches or larger. And that's about it, because otherwise the stone can get a little bit heavy. Sometimes these depictions of Bodhgaya are actually not true depictions of Bodhgaya, but are actually carvings of temples from Patan, from locations in the Kathmandu Valley that are similar to the Bodhgaya temple. So sometimes there's some confusion as to the actual identity and the architectural design of these small stone models. But these are the three categories: site locations, paintings, and then the two objects, tourist or souvenir objects from Bodhgaya.